Good morning and welcome to the video for Thursday, July the 30th. This is going to be a video for our upcoming fourth graders. On Monday, we were working with identifying what type of triangle we're working with, and then we were talking about different measurements of angles. So whether they are right angles greater than 90-degree angles, which would be our obtuse angles, or less than 90-degree angle or right angle, which would be our acute angles. So we can see that with the shapes that we're working with today, but we're not working with those types of things, except for right angles to help us figure out what our shapes are. So let's go ahead and take a look at our examples for today. To start with, I want to go ahead and talk through this. So intersecting lines, they're going to cross at exactly one point. So think of an example where I have two objects that are traveling, and eventually they are going to run into each other. So that intersection point we are going to find in all of these particular shapes because they are closed shapes. Parallel lines are going to run in the same direction and always be the same distance apart. So if I wanted to show an example, I could go ahead and use my Nintendo Switch. And so the top end of this runs parallel to the bottom. They're traveling in similar directions and they're always the same distance apart. And our perpendicular lines are going to be intersecting lines that form four right angles. We're not really going to think about that too much as we're working with our shapes, but we could say that if we are making right angles, like with a rectangle, that we would have right angles on all of the other parts too. And so if we were to continue these lines out, they would end up being perpendicular lines. So let's talk about our types of quadrilaterals. So all of our quadrilaterals are going to be four-sided shapes. Almost all of them are going to have at least one matching pair of parallel sides. I say matching, that's not always true. They're always going to have one pair of parallel sides. Sometimes they'll be matching, sometimes they won't. So with our trapezoid, we'll see that these are not matching, they're not the same length, but they're always the same distance from each other. A parallelogram is going to have two pairs of parallel sides that are of different lengths. A rhombus is going to have two pairs of parallel sides, but all four sides are the same length. That's going to match what a square is, except a square is also going to have right angles. So a rhombus is going to have four sides of the same length, but not right angles typically. And then a square will have the same things, but with right angles. Rectangle is going to have two different pairs of parallel sides, and then also have four right angles. So I want you to pause the video real quick and see if you can find, out of the 7 examples that we have down here, any examples that don't have at least one pair of parallel sides. So assuming that you did that, there are 2 of them. One of them would be this one here. So I'm going to put a 0 in here to show that we have 0 pairs of parallel sides. And then this would be the other one. And so now I want to look and see what would be all of our things that could be considered trapezoids. They have to have at least one pair. They can have more than one pair. So my trapezoids would end up being all 5 of these shapes. And then this one was only going to have one pair of parallel sides. And this one is also only going to have one pair of parallel sides. So as we look at our other things, these 2 will not also be one of these. So now let's look and see if we have 2 pairs of parallel sides. And so this one has 2 pairs. This one has 2 pairs. This one has 2 pairs, but this one would actually be this guy because all 4 sides are the same length. So all of these, both of these would be parallelograms. This one would be a rhombus. This one is also going to be a rectangle because we have 4 right angles. We do not have a square represented here. So a square would be similar to a rectangle. And we could say that if we had our rhombus with right angles, we could make that work, but we don't have one of those there. So that covers the introduction that I want to do for today. There will be a additional follow-up on Monday with some of this stuff, and then I'll go into a new topic. So we'll look at some shapes and talk about all of the different things that those shapes can be to kind of finish that part out, and then I'll introduce a new concept on Monday. Hope your weekend goes well. Hope your summer is going well. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be on Monday.